Before Aba became known for its markets and manufacturing, it was already a settled place with structure and history. What people now call Aba was originally Ngwa land, made up of villages like Umokereke, Ehere, Umojima, Abauku, Eziuku, and Obuda. This was an empty land waiting for anyone to arrive. Historians like Adiele Afibo trace continuous settlement in the area back thousands of years, and at the center of the economy were women. Ngwa women ran the engines of daily life, operating palm presses, pounding palm kernels with ikwaku, trading goods, and organizing markets. Their labor created the surplus that turned Aba into a commercial hub long before colonial maps and boundaries showed up. Land ownership mattered too. Families such as the Ubo of Abauku, the Emeja Kaebu of Abalohazu, the Obona of Eziukwu Aba, the Ichitas and Uguzos of Umokpoji Aba, and the Omeni Huns of Obuda Aba became custodians of Aba's identity, the Abalonhazu indigenes. When the British arrived in the early 1900s, they quickly noticed Aba's strategic location near Opobo, and by 1915, a railway line had been laid. Then, in 1929, colonial authorities attempted to extend taxation to women. That decision triggered what became known as Ogomowai, the Aba Women's Riot. Over 10,000 women mobilized and effectively shut down colonial administration. Even when the soldiers opened fire, they held their ground until the warrant chief system collapsed. Aba had made one thing clear: this wasn't a place that accepted decisions quietly. What followed would shape how power met resistance here long after the protests ended. By the 1950s, Aba had become a serious industrial city. Big companies like Lever Brothers and Nigerian breweries set up operations there. It wasn't just businesses paying attention either. Even scholars came too. African-American linguist Lorenzo Del Torna visited to study Aba's language and culture, which says a lot about how visible the city had become. Then the Civil War hit.
Reports like these from Biafra were on film.
Aba took heavy damage, but it didn't collapse. The city became a base for Biafran improvisation and later for post-war rebuilding. People lost homes, tools, and livelihoods, and then did what Aba people tend to do. They started again. That restart is where Aba Boy really kicked in. Apprentices learned trades, finished their time, and opened shops of their own. Those shops formed clusters. The clusters grew into Area International Market, now running into tens of thousands of shops. Shoes, bags, clothes, machines, if it can be made, someone in Aba is probably making it. And the pride wasn't only about money. It showed up in culture too. On the football field, Enyimba International FC broke Nigerians' long continental drought, winning the CAF Champions League in 2003 and again in 2004. The Oriental Derby against Rangers International FC became more than a match. It reflected deeper contrasts: industry versus administration, grit versus order. But things didn't stay smooth. Gradually, decline set in. Bakassi-era politics, failing infrastructure, unreliable power, flooding, and years of policy neglect slowed down the city. Aba didn't stop working, but everything started to feel like an uphill climb. Today, Aba is pivoting again. Things are changing, slowly, unevenly, but still noticeably. The geometric power plant is finally delivering electricity, and that alone is shifting how people work. Light changes everything. Productivity improves, confidence grows, and small businesses can finally think about scale. Made in Aba fashion is also getting more visible. Local designers and manufacturers are showing at platforms like Aba Fashion Week, and some have taken their work to international showcases designed to introduce Aba-made products to global audiences. Shoes, bags, and clothing produced in the city are being exported, sometimes in small batches, sometimes through personal networks, but actually steadily reaching markets outside Nigeria. A younger generation of makers is mixing tradition with technology, improving finishing, branding, and reach. The city still has its challenges: traffic, flooding, planning chaos, but Aba has never waited for perfect conditions before moving forward. From villages to factory floods, from Ikwaku to industrial looms, the city keeps reinventing itself. And that's the thing about Aba. It moves, it adapts, and it builds. Whatever comes next, the city will meet it the same way it has for generations. by getting to work and finding a way forward.